What's the trashiest thing somebody has done at your family Thanksgiving? Story 1. One of my mom's friends was invited to our Thanksgiving because their kids were at their SO's families for the holiday. That year, my uncle brought a bottle of homemade limoncello to share. The stuff was delicious, but it was also 50% alcohol. Everyone was drinking it out of a little 1-ounce glass cups. My mom's friend instead poured herself a full wine glass, half the bottle, when no one was looking, downed it in 15 minutes, and then tried to go back for more. She was passed out drunk at least an hour before the dinner even began. Story 2. Every year we had Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house. One year everyone was there but one aunt. She was outside in her car refusing to come in. Turns out she had taken out a credit card in my cousin's name while said cousin was in the Navy. Cousin found out on the drive over while opening her mail. Aunt had racked up over $10,000 in debt for my cousin. Edit. Cousin did not pay. Her father made her mother pay her back using part of her retirement. Seems this was just one of the first signs my aunt was not in her right mind anymore. My cousin did not want to press charges but was able to get her credit back up with some work after the debt was paid off by her mother. There were a couple of other things my aunt had done, but nothing like this. Unfortunately, she was literally out of her mind and only got worse. That Thanksgiving was one of the last ones where our family got together like that. My uncle, aunt, and cousins never came back after that one. They did visit again at other times, but aunt was medicated and not like herself anymore. Story 3. I was at my wife's uncle's house for Thanksgiving, and his wife decided right after dinner to play their wedding video, because it was also their anniversary weekend. She looks for a half an hour to find the videotape, finds it, and gathers the whole dinner party, 25-ish people, to the back room area, plays the video, and right as she's walking down the aisle, midway down the aisle it goes fuzzy and cuts to Dale Earnhardt's funeral. Uncle Joe used that tape to record Dale Earnhardt's funeral. Granted, it was in small-town Michigan, where the NASCAR track is, but still. Everyone froze in complete shock, and I started laughing and felt like I was in a sitcom, but it was real life. Story 4. The woman my cousin had just married stole a Costco-sized box of individually wrapped Cheez-It packages from our garage. I just happened to notice that they were gone when putting the food in the fridge. I asked about it publicly, and she locked up, started stuttering, and went to get them out of her car. She returned with the excuse, "I thought these were mine. I have a box just like them at home." Story 5. Faked a heart attack. It was very surreal, and her husband was so embarrassed. Edit. Here's what happened. Grandmother didn't like my dad very much, and she picked a fight with him, so he decided that he was going home. When Grandmother M realized that my stepmom, her daughter, was going to take Dad's side and go home too, she yelled a lot and then, as a last-ditch effort, dramatically clutched her chest and collapsed very carefully. It was outside, and I guess she didn't want to bump her head or muss her clothes. Dad offered to call 911. Grandfather said it wasn't necessary, and when Grandma realized no one was taking her seriously, she opened her eyes, allowed Grandfather to help her up, and went inside with him while fake sobbing. Normally she's quite nice, but she had her moments and really wasn't happy that her daughter had grown up and had a life. Holidays usually brought out the worst in her, which was weird because she loved cooking and celebrating. Story 6. My uncle brought a woman other than his wife. She was crazy. A practicing witch who would divine things about us on the spot and ironically accuse my other uncle of having an affair. She got drunk and groped me in the coat closet, then tried to kiss me, saying, "If only I were young again." I was 16. Story 7. An actual family fight broke out and we had to call the cops and everything. My grandpa got a fine, my uncle was arrested. My step-grandmother's oldest daughter was arrested. Before my uncle and grandpa passed away, we wouldn't let them live it down. It was glorious. When I say fight, I mean people on the floor throwing punches. We never went back to my grandpa's for Thanksgiving after that. That was back when I was between 8 and 9. We actually went back one year and my aunt gave us all food poisoning. My mom was literally dragging my brother and I into the ER because of how bad the food poisoning was. I have not eaten anything she has cooked since. Excuse me for laughing. What started the fight? Oh, it's no problem. We still laugh about it. My step-grandmother's daughter called my grandpa a dumb, illiterate fuck because my grandpa could not read. But my uncle lost it and jumped the lady. My grandpa tried to break it up, but accidentally hit the daughter in the process, which is what caused him to get a fine. But, yeah. My uncle fought a woman because she insulted my grandpa. Story 8. This was just a joke, but I still felt it was worth sharing. My uncle made a scene about having dropped something on the floor. When he was sure enough of us were paying attention, he bends over to pick it up, his shirt rides up, and we see a tramp-stamp tiger clawing its way out of his butt crack. It was a temporary tattoo that he had my aunt help him specifically put on for this occasion. Story 9. My father's girlfriend sat at the head of the table at my house and acted like she was the hostess while monopolizing the entire conversation. It was her waitstaff. It was my first time meeting her. 5 years later, they are still together, but I haven't seen her in 4 years, 11 months, and 29 days. It wasn't just the head of the table scandal of 2013 that sunk her for me. She said I should eat very little to watch my figure. It's my Thanksgiving meal. She said I should dye my hair. I like my natural color. She was disappointed in my husband's wardrobe choice for the evening. He looked fine. And the grand finale was that she told my father I was a bitch after the night was over, after everything I did to make her comfortable. I should also mention she's 10 years older than him, 85 at the time, wears a full face of makeup, dyes her hair dark every weekend, and is very superficial. Not who I plan to be when I'm in my 80s. I think she's just jealous of my relationship with him and is constantly wanting to assert herself as number one. I'm perfectly fine with that, and it's awesome she keeps busy. I see my father all the time, and I am perfectly happy with the arrangement. My kids had extra doses of time with her, so they are thrilled they don't see her anymore. They loved my mother so much. They were perfectly open to a relationship with her, but she's so vain and ridiculous that it wasn't possible. Story 10. Every Thanksgiving with my mother-in-law, my wife and I host. About 15 people come, and everyone brings side dishes as the custom. Not her mother. She only brings stuff for herself. She proudly announces whatever she brought is just for her. It's not for diet purposes because she eats all the other food too. When dessert makes an appearance, she will make a big scene about wanting the first piece instead of letting the kids get theirs and get out of the way. One year there was a big argument about the corner pieces of a chocolate cake. She went first, as usual, and cut herself 2 corner pieces and took them both. If you want to make little kids cry, do that. She wouldn't give them up though. Also, she treats our guest room and bath like a hotel. When she leaves, she takes the toilet paper rolls, the Kleenex box, paper towels, soap, etc. Edit. Just to address some of the comments in one swoop, she's not bad and she's not senile. She is invited every year because my wife is the only family that she has, and my wife would feel tremendously guilty if she didn't invite her. Not much of an excuse, but that's why. And if you are horrified by the above, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I could really make your head spin with her behavior on the 364 days of the year that aren't Thanksgiving. Story 11. This isn't an isolated thing, but if someone doesn't show up for Thanksgiving or Christmas, we automatically check the inmate records at the county jail. It's happened a few times that someone's absence is accounted for by an arrest and/or jail stay. ETA, in 2016, my brother was a no-show for Christmas and we checked the jail's website. We saw our unique last name on the roster and assumed he had been arrested. Turns out it was my uncle. I never did ask my brother where he was that year. ETA means edited to add. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch our YouTube video. If you find our content helpful and enjoyable, please click the subscribe button to stay updated on any new videos we share in the future. Thank you once again, and we hope to see you in our next upcoming videos.